Welcome back to Void City Customs. I am Dan, and today we are going to be looking at how I made a custom McFarlane Toys Hush Superman figure, which is meant to go along with this Hush Batman figure, because the current Hush Superman figure right here just is a bit too short, as many of you have probably already noticed. They reused the Rebirth Superman mold from way back when, and they shouldn't have, because they made an all-new Batman that is far bigger than most of the other Batman figures already out there. So this Superman is not only shorter than a lot of other characters out there right now, but he's way shorter than the Batman he actually goes along with from the same story. That wasn't working for me, so I made this guy right here. This is my custom Hush Superman, and as you can see, he is taller than the regular one, and he's even taller than Batman, kind of like he probably should be to most people. And I don't know, I think he just works a lot better. This was made using parts from 4 different figures. You can use 3, however I used 4 just to make it look a little bit nicer in the end and improve its appearance overall. I will get into all of that right now. So this is my Hush Superman, meant to fit in a lot better with the Hush Batman figure. He was made using parts from 4 different figures. Those 4 figures are the Hush Superman figure, of course. I also used the Dark Knight Returns Superman figure. I used a Rebirth Superman figure. And finally, I used some shoulder pegs from a Shriek figure. These are all McFarlane figures, all from the DC Multiverse line. No other pieces had to be used to make this or anything like that. So you've got this guy here, the original, and he has a couple of parts that I wanted, such as the head and the emblem and the cape, because the cape has a nice S on the back, and there aren't any other Superman figures that have that in the DC Multiverse line, except for possibly the original Angry Hush Superman figure that was a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, which I missed and don't have yet. So there's that. So the first thing I did was I popped the head off of this guy and kept that aside. And I also wanted this emblem. So I got some boiling water, threw it in a container, let it cool for a second, and then dropped this guy in there, so he became very flexible, very soft, and was able to, after a couple of dips, get this emblem straight out of there. You know, you can just pull it right out. After that, I also wanted the cape, so I made sure to peel the cape off very carefully so I could put it back onto the other chest, because the chest I was using is actually the same mold, just a darker color. You've guessed it, I used the Rebirth chest with the pieces from this Hush Superman. So I took the metallic emblem out of the Rebirth chest and put this one back in. I also reattached the cape to that, and the last thing I had to do was actually remove this whole neck piece, because the Rebirth neck piece is different. There's little tabs in there and the skin tone doesn't quite match up. I didn't like that, so same thing, heated with boiling water, pried it apart, repeated that a bunch of times until the thing actually came apart, and then I had the neck piece, which I was able to glue back into the other chest part from Rebirth. So when it's done, you basically end up with this same whole thing here, except with the darker color, and that's what this is. And he has the same cape. Next, you want to get your Dark Knight Returns Superman figure, and you want to pull his arms off. They pretty much just come right off in my experience. It's pretty easy to pull them out of there. And you also want to remove the entire torso. The midsection and the torso you want to just be gone. So I heated him up in some hot water also until he was pliable, and removed the torso just from the ball peg, and then heated up this Rebirth Superman torso and attached it right back onto the same peg. I didn't switch out any pegs. This is just a straight switch, so everything on there just fit right together. From there, I popped the arms right back in from the Dark Knight Returns Superman right into the Rebirth chest. So we had the whole thing together, popped the head on, and he was basically done. My only real issue at that point, and I'll throw some photos up here, On the original shoulder pegs going into this guy, they were too long, so his arms actually stuck out of the body a bit farther than I would have liked. It made him look kind of strange. So I did some transplant surgery. I took the rotating pegs out of the shoulders of a Shriek action figure because it has the same size disc and the peg is just slightly shorter. And I took the pegs out of this guy and I transplanted them. Here is a link in case you guys want to know how to do that if you don't already. It's kind of a delicate little surgery because it's a pretty permanently sealed together piece. However, if you do it carefully, you can get them apart and switch them out and use different shoulders and different figures if you want to. That said, I did that. It worked out perfectly the first time. Reattach his arms. Now his shoulders are in there where they should be, and I think it looks pretty good. The last step I did was to just paint his belt because the Dark Knight Returns Superman figure, for whatever reason, his belt loops aren't painted red. I don't really understand that. It's just some lazy masking when they painted the yellow on. I don't know why they couldn't just leave that off there and make them red. Whatever. So there's two routes you can go with this. You can use some acetone or some paint thinner or what have you, possibly even some rubbing alcohol if you're patient, and a Q-tip, and rub the yellow off of here in order to make them red again because the plastic itself is just red. I didn't want to do that because I don't have any of those supplies currently where I'm at, so I went a different route and just painted it. I matched the paint color with some paints like I always use. That was pretty easy also. It was just basically flat red with one drop of bloody red put in there. Painted those on there, worked just fine. And there you have it. Now he is done. So now you have someone, if you want, who can go along a lot better with this Hush Batman figure, at least as far as size and height. I know he ended up being a little bit darker again in the end, but that's fine. I don't mind a little bit darker blue on the Superman. It would have been nice to have the lighter one, but whatever. The Batman's a bit darker here too, so it's fine with me. It's all good. Well, there you have it. Like I said, this was a pretty easy one. It was mostly a kit bash, a little bit of shoulder surgery in there. So once it's done, in my opinion, it looks way better than the regular one does, at least next to this guy right here. Now at least they're the correct heights, and I think it just looks better overall. So let me know what you guys think, or if you've done any customization on this figure. Let me know what you guys think about that Hush Superman that came out as it was. I mean, like I said, I think it's the best version of that figure, or at least that mold that they've put out, but just overall for the line that it's part of, it just didn't fit with the other character. So that's why I made this one. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this simple little kit bash here. I finished this guy in about a night, so it can be done pretty quickly if you're looking for just a nice little customization project for the day and have the parts lying around, which I know a lot of you guys probably do. Until next time, I am Dan. This is Hush Batman, Hush Superman, my version, all made from McFarlane Toys parts, or just in general a McFarlane Toys figure. Thanks, Todd, but next time please make your Superman taller. I will see you later.